Certainly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Welcome to the rating show as we sit here and recap what was yet another disappointing performance by the Carlton Football Club in round 11. It is Monday, the 26th of May, 2025. I am here with Pommy, the great man. Hello, sir.
I hope, how are we all doing? Are we all okay?
We're fucked.
Not good.
Yeah. Thanks as always to the sponsor of the show, Nick from Horizon Finance Group, who gives so much more than just a sponsorship. He actually also gave 4 tickets away to the game on the weekend, which found their way to a lovely recipient, Gags, the 4 of them. And it was a shame that we had to send him to what was one of the worst performances that I've seen with this club. And I reckon I say that on average once every 3.8 weeks.
Yeah, you've said it a few times. I'll be honest with you. Great to win tickets. Probably not the greatest game to go to, I'll be honest. But, I mean, well done, Nick. We appreciate all you do. Yeah. You're fast becoming my favourite humanitarian.
Yeah. So if anybody is looking for finance for something, a car, a house, whatever, personal loan, whatever it is, get in touch with the great man and he will absolutely be able to help you. Let him know that you're a Blue Abroad person and he will look after you even more. I'm not going to lie. We spoke not long ago on the phone and I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it at 7 p.m. I was at the game. I am stunned at how bad it looked on the screen on TV. Like it looked worse on TV.
Usually I find some solace in the 3 times I watch this. I'll be honest. My solace in the 3rd time was, at least I don't do this for 7 more days. That was how I ended the 3rd watch. I was like, at least I've got a week off, Pom. You're going to be all right.
Mate, we're going to get to the critical contests and individual players and their ratings and what they did and all of that. I found myself rewinding, hitting pause and going frame by frame just to make sure I wasn't missing that someone was in a better position than the ball carrier. And
thank you very much, Mrs. Pom. It says, look, there's no gloss in this. Like, we can talk about systems, we can talk about player performance. Everything was down. There's few positives. I'll find some, though, because I feel like everyone needs at least one positive. I'll try and find one.
But, Pom, we just got to get after it.
I actually can't hear that anymore.
Can I please see a heat map of what getting after it looks like?
It did hurt, that one. The get after it. I mean, they've got a lot of work to do. The buy has probably come at a good time, really. I did like Voss's. We'll go on a little holiday. We'll come back. We'll get after it. I did like that one. That made me feel better.
We'll get to work.
And it's GWS as well.
Yeah. So congratulations. Congratulations to the Giants who won this year's installment of the Fraud Off.
They were, yeah. I mean, look, they grinded very well. It wasn't, I mean, it was a tough one for me personally, just because I know that how good they are off the defensive half, and they are a one-trick pony, to put it nicely. And I did very much enjoy us playing into the one-trick pony. I did enjoy that.
Do you think the players are protesting, trying to get Voss sacked?
I don't know. That was a real fall off, though, wasn't it, from them? Like, it was It was real. Yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it? I mean, we're going to get onto the players, but like at times it was hard to believe. Like I said to my father-in-law when I watched Harry O'Farrell versus Weitering, if we'd gone back to like when I first started watching the game with him, I would have assumed Harry O'Farrell was the guy who had been there forever. Do you know what I mean? Like if you'd said, who do you think is the senior player here? Harry O'Farrell looked less panicked at times. I made the joke in my review that I think by the second quarter, Jacob Weitering would have had flashbacks to Bolton, would have woken up with a cold sweat, thinking it was back to them days of where it's him on 4 forwards, just trying to fight his way through. Bless him. Oh, well.
Oh, well. So what we're going to do is, I mean, I doubt that we've got a new watcher of the rating show this week. But if you are new and this is your very first rating show, please let yourself be known so we can say hello and welcome you. We're going to go through every player. We're going to look at their role in the day, how they executed it, and look. I don't know what we're going to do today.
I'd like to thank Starboy as well. I have spent 3 nights putting that out of my mind.
Oh, we'll get to him. All right. Look, player by player. Let's start with the vice captain, Mr. Weitering. What have we got here?
Interesting points of note here. Jacob Weitering faced 6 one-on-ones and won them all. Interesting points of note that. Like, don't think I'm going to go down an avenue of saying he's the greatest person ever. But that was an interesting one because I had to double check that through a variety of sources just to make sure that someone wasn't having my eyes out. Jacob, this was a real tough game, and it was probably the 5th week in a row we've seen teams try and isolate him as deep as possible, and funny enough, play into his one-on-ones. And there's always a saying, isn't there, that as good as you build a dam, eventually the dam wall will break. And with Jacob Weitering, this was not so much his defending, his application in key moments. That spilled mark. That his kicking was really poor this week as well. He got caught out a few times. There's a few times in the 3rd quarter particularly. He should have gone to his man, and he's got himself caught in no man's land. A real alien performance. And it's been funny. I've been calling for people to call senior players into account, and it's kind of backfired because Weitering has copped a lot of hurt, a lot of hate this week, and rightly so. It was a bad game. It's a rare bad game, I've got to say, but this was a very weird one because, like, even his mate Saad, he ignored Saad countless times. He ignored Matt Carroll countless times as well. It really did feel like, if I didn't know better, this man had other things on his mind.
100%. He was consumed by something. Yep. He has credits in the bank. Yep. He's been so consistent for a long period of time. We are only talking about round 11. And in isolation, I've covered every single Jacob Weitering game. I think this might have been top 3 for like his worst games. And yeah, something was just not there in his mind. And there, to be honest, there were a few of them who have the same characteristic. They just looked and moved and fought their way through things in a way that made it seem like they weren't fully there, which is disappointing because it didn't seem like there was anybody else in that back line. It's hard to hold anyone to account on the field when everyone is consumed by it. So it's very disappointing.
And we got Josh in chat on one of his new burners, Paul Noble, but like he is correct. As I said at the start of the show, there has been a system that opposition have done of putting him as deep in the goal square as possible. And it's a fascinating one because, again, numerically, he's done okay because he's been targeted so much. And it's I'd love to know what the opposition coaches are seeing because I will be honest, If I was in that coaching meeting and they said we're going to isolate Jacob Weitering and target him aerially, I would have been like, what? You've been serious? He's pretty good at that one-on-one, but it has worked because it's kept him away from really doing his strong suit, which is attacking the ball. So fascinating. And it's something that Weitering is going to have to work through because it's worked 3 weeks in a row effectively. So that's going to be the first thing now in coaches' meetings of what they're going to do to Carlton.
So a 6 for Jacob.
And that's partly from volume as well. It's just it's allowed him to have high numbers.
Right. Well, there's maybe 1 or 2 positives for the day. Unfortunately, we're talking about individuals as a positive for the game, but still got to enjoy the moments along the way. Harry O'Farrell made his debut, the young lad.
What genuinely excites me about Harry O'Farrell, and it's a fascinating thing. So if you go back to the draft and stuff, I really like this guy. I had him ranked over Tyree, which people said was mental. I'll just have a little bit of a gloat. What's Alex Tyree done this year? Not much. Spelt his name wrong. But what I like about Harry O'Farrell is he plays in front of his man and he backs himself to win that ball. And that is a facet that I really hope to God Carlton don't take out of it. I really hope that they don't curve that because I really enjoyed how he took himself in that danger zone and says, you know what, I might lose, but I'm going to back myself that I win that ball. And I thought he showed all the way through it. He was pretty good. He lost one-on-one out of the 2 ones that he had. That was to Jesse Hogan, which isn't really anything to be gutted about for a first-year player. But he did win the other one, and he won it quite well. He got the intercept grab on top of him, which I think is good. Great signs for him. And it was a real exciting, I really enjoyed it. I thought his positioning was good. I don't think he got caught out too much. He held his own, and I really liked this game. This was a real positive for me. Well done, Harry O'Farrell.
Yeah, absolutely well done to Harry O'Farrell. I was always interested to see his first few contests and how would he go reading the flight of the ball? How would he go reading the speed of the game, given it, they all talk about how different the speed of the game is from the 2s to the 1s. And he released his first handball quick enough and didn't seem like the game was too slow. So, yeah, look, a positive for sure on the day.
You know, one thing that I will compliment as well is when he got beaten, if you go back and see when he got beaten, he was incredulous with himself. He was fuming, and Doc went up to him and gave him a hug and rubbed him on the head, like as if to say, look, it's okay, mate. Like, you're allowed to lose one. But I really like that reaction from him. Like, he was genuinely pissed. And I was like, okay, this is good. You're angry. Good man.
Do you think he keeps his spot? Even though, I mean, we did see McGovern go forward. We did see Lewis Young go into defense. Do you just let him go, let him play? Or was this more of a have a taste of the ones, young man, and next time you tire, we'll bring you back out? Like, I don't know what the plan is here.
I'd love it if Carlton went bold and dropped McGovern.
Yeah.
And brought JSOS back in and said, right, JSOS, because why Weitering has been okay is JSOS invariably gets in between the blocker. So you saw them deploy Himmelberg quite a few times in the forward line to try and stop Weitering coming off his man to attack the ball. I would love it if they did it next against Essendon, said, right, Harry, you keep your spot. McGovern, we're looking for a forward. Go in the VFL and be a forward. Or do whatever you're doing and say, JSOS, you're going to be the plank. Harry, we're going to give you that trust. You go and attack the ball, have a bit of fun. Because I'd hate him in, out. Because I feel like he deserves a chance of redemption. Because his next contest after Hogan, he won. So that's a great character. You've lost, you come back and you still attack that ball. You come off your man. Well done, Harry. Keep doing it.
Well done. 6.2 for Harry O'Farrell. Then we get to Adam Saad. This would be the most disenchanted I've ever been with Adam Saad. Ever.
This was a fascinating one because AFL ratings has absolutely giving him the glizzy 2000 here. Like it has looked at all the numbers and gone really exciting. And when I see that heat map, usually I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Before I look at the numbers, I'd be like, okay, this is good. It was a fascinating game for this because the thing with Saad is the amount of times he took off and he didn't get the memo, we're not going quick, was very scary. So he got himself up to halfway in the midfield. And then all he had left was bang the fucker to a 1-on-4 because no one else had got the memo Saad was taking off. Few times he got constantly caught as well in transit, got constantly caught out purely because he was trying to be advanced. It feels a weird one because it feels like they know what he's good at, but they don't want to use it. And he really looks out of place. And this is no fault of Saad's. It's almost like he's playing a different game plan to everyone else.
Well, I said this, we spoke the other day. I mean, I think he's been talking to Arsene Wenger a little bit on the phone every week because he'll go side to side, but very rarely will he run directly at the goal. And the one time he ran directly at the goal, something happened. It wasn't perfect, but something happened.
Yeah, it's fascinating because he's a person who had as many good moments as he did bad, which then goes against him. And I think it's fascinating. I say this all the time about Adam Saad. It's fascinating that Essendon believed they wanted a more lockdown defender role. Yeah. So they believed that he wasn't capable of it and they wanted to give it to youth to play up the ground. And we've turned him into a lockdown defender because that doesn't work. That goes really against him. His defending this week, he got caught in transit quite a lot.
Yeah. I didn't think he had a great performance. The rating will say 6.4. So,
which is quite damning when you're in the back line. So you got to remember the halfbacks score very well.
Yeah.
And that's the flaw of most algorithms. Key defenders, when you're getting battered, you'll score well because you've got monopoly. Saad, halfback, it's the coziest position. So that's quite a high rating given he hasn't done a load. So
yeah,
it's a shame.
It is. Then we get to Mitch McGovern. I wish we were doing this ratings the way we used to do it. I would literally say next.
And this is a scare. This is a scare. So you can see we tried him up forward. It didn't work. Fascinating. He was the first to go forward as well when the club has been quite open. He doesn't even train with it. And then he went back to his usual back pocket role. And he really struggled. Looked incredibly out of pace. No intercept marks. The one redeeming factor with Mitch McGovern is he often puts them tackles in at the ground. He works hard. This was poor. This was really poor. And that's why I suggested I don't like this position. I'm going to be a full caveat that I think you've got too many toes down in the back half.
Right.
I'd rather see Harry O'Farrell play this role and then you play Silvani as the pure lockdown, which is what he's been relishing, and give this job to a young kid that is ultimately going to take Weitering or Sauce's job in 2-3 years' time. Get him the feel of that intercept. Because this was poor, man. Like he's a senior player. Mitch McGovern shouldn't be playing loose. Should be winning his contest, should be driving it over the line. And I felt like, I don't want to be harsh to him, but it felt like he was trying to stay out of trouble as much as possible.
I mean, if you haven't watched the replay, I don't know why you would, but if you're interested, mate, his first quarter, negligent, unprofessional to say the least. And then I heard Joey Montagna say towards the back end of the second quarter, Mitch McGovern, he's had a good half. I'm like, has he? Like, really?
It felt like when Mitch McGovern's playing well, he's putting himself in the danger zone. This week, like that heat map there is a man that is like, I'm staying out of trouble. And when you are paid as a senior player who he is, he should be doing what Harry O'Farrell was wanting to do. You know what? If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose doing what I'm good at. I'm attacking that ball. I'm going to try. And ultimately, I've hate saying it because I don't know for fact, but it felt like he didn't try.
Yeah.
The effort wasn't there visually.
Protection mode, whatever it is. I mean, I can't believe I was saying not that long ago that this guy's got all Australian level talent. I literally can't believe I said that. Anyway, 3.9
say Stocker was going to be Hodge.
Yeah. By the way, great bloke, and they're all great blokes. And this guy's actually a really good human being. He really is. But the performance was poor. So I feel like I need to qualify that because actually I don't give a fuck what people think. Nick Haynes.
I mean, well, you can see the other end of the ground. This, you know what? He's copped a lot of abuse, and I'll say this: he played to his strengths. He attacked the ball. The big thing that goes against him is some of the decision making. I can partly pin it on his midfield were literally behind him at times. Behind him, like he had no one to kick to. But at times, his decision-making was questionable. His intercept possessions, though, intercept marks, brilliant. But this, again, felt like a player that I'm expecting him to scream at players. This is what I want. At this level where you are now, you have been brought in by the club to lead, set an example. I didn't see it from the forwards. I didn't see it from any backmen. Actually scream at the players and say, fucking help me. I'm winning my battles. And he had a lot of numbers, but I felt like his impact weren't there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you feed off the composure. They were talking about it during the broadcast. I think it was Jordan Lewis who said it. And I wrote it down. He's like, you feed off your composure of your leaders. So when that was out of the window early, I mean, Haynes, I thought he did have a solid game considering he was still guilty of panic kicks, hat kicks. That's a byproduct of lack of composure and not having an option further down the field and a number of things. I mean, he was far from our worst, I think is the best way to summarize him.
Yeah. Look, we always say 6.5 is an average game where we'd expect, so slightly below it. At this role, a guy that has had that much uncontested in the back half of the ground, though, I would be expecting us talking about an 8, a 9. I think that would have been a very good output. So it is what it is. He was one of many.
Fair. LS just wanted to add a comment here about McGovern. He does have AA level talent, Terry, and that's what's so frustrating. Go watch his back chat interview. Zero desire. Being a good bloke doesn't help us. Yeah, fair. Thank you, mate. All right, so Hainsey got the 6.4. Then we'll move along. We'll get to Sam Doherty. Maybe another positive for the day, given he's had his struggles with form. And he's gone back to the 2s and he's come back and he was solid.
Yeah, and a guy that was trusted a lot with exits out of the back half of the ground, having 19 of his 28 touch and possessions uncontested. That's 30% uncontested. So a guy that we're expecting to change it, and some positives that I liked about him. Won everything at the ground, 7 ground ball gets.
Yeah, wow.
Worked really strong there. And for someone that's kicking is usually questionable, thought he used the ball quite reliably at times. Right, did the right thing, went short. If I'm going to be critical, though, what's really stopping this being a 10 is I felt he was one of the first to go into safe mode with the ball. When it really came and there was options there, he went safe. He was quite keen to go long down the line. I wanted to see some more shorter hits, hit up the corridor a bit. He was guilty a lot in the second half when he really came into his own of burning the corridor and making sure he's playing the percentages. And again, see what I said about Haynes. When you are being one of the primary ball getters, your job is to be the tempo setter of this side. Yeah. And say, right, okay. And I felt like he fell into the trap of going into the burden what everyone else felt of not using the ball with any vigor, but a solid game.
Yeah, he was solid. I mean, those ground ball gets are really interesting. There were a few contests which stand out. There was the one where the one that he set up just before Cripps got pinned holding the ball. I mean, Doc just collected that footy with a desire that you can only hope everyone has. And yeah, I mean, you know, not to find positives for the sake of it, but I mean, you want to look for characteristics every game that you want to move forward with you. I mean, this is a guy that was absolutely berated by a lot of people, told to retire, only playing because he had cancer, like really tough stuff. If anything, he could have just like hung the boots up and strolled into retirement if he wanted to, and maybe he still can. So I was very happy for him to play the role that he did, and it was a shame. If only a few of his, actually, if only all of his teammates had the resilience that he did in life, we might be a better football club.
What was impressive as well with Doc is fascinating what happens when you play a halfback back at halfback.
Oh, what do you know?
It's almost like your position is your position, isn't it? But, I mean, that's it.
So Doc gets a 7 for his game. Well done, Doc.
So already we're deep into the midfield, and you should be seeing now you've played a team that's had 83 points off turnover, had 50 plus off the back half of the ground. That's where the modern day football is being played. And we're not getting 8s and 9s. So that's where you start to panic. If your main ball users at the minute, Saad, Doc, and Mr. Haynes have only averaged between them 6.5 issue, because that's saying the ball use is either not good enough or it's not aggressive enough.
Well, let's move along. Young fella here, young Matt Carroll. How does his game stack up?
This man here is working overtime at the minute defensively. Like, I'm very, very impressed that this guy has come in to this team and he's having to haul ass at times. Haul ass. I am very, very impressed that he, for a guy that likes to use the ball, he's having to play a lockdown role. And you really did see the deficiencies in his game this week, I thought. Especially you saw Mr. Darcy Jones target him. And Darcy Jones just brought the ball to ground, waited for it, and then span and got away from him. But I like the fact that he kept trying. He kept making them mistakes. And that's only going to serve him well as time goes on. As for a game, gets his head over the ball, he does it. I'd love to see him be a bit more physical as opposed to winning the ball at ground level. See there, tackles, pressure acts way below the AFL norm. So this is where I want to see Matt now take the next step. If you belong there, body these fuckers. And that would be my message to him against Essendon. If you are playing, mate, don't be scared to fucking knock one of these dickheads into Rosette. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
Don't respect him.
What I liked about it, we spoke about it last week with the ratings, and we were talking about, didn't have a good game last week. Hopefully he doesn't get dropped. And they didn't drop him. Fair enough. And it was good to see him just sort of dig his heels in and have a crack at it. I like some of the moments he displays. He's got that willingness to be fearless in a moment, especially when his senior leaders are doing sweet fuck all about the composure element of the game. So I thought he was okay given where he's at and in the context of where he's at in his career. So I like what I'm seeing. I like the characteristics of what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Look, it'll hold him in good stead. It'll hold him in good stead for the future. So yeah, I mean, he's not at the minute. I don't think he has a role that personally suits him. I've said this ad nauseum. If you look at other teams, the young players are generally the ones that are playing the exciting roles. At Carlton at the minute, it seems that the youth are getting the shit eaters roles. And the exciting roles are going to the old guys. It would be nice to see him maybe get that role that Saad has and say to him, look, have a bit of fun. See what you can do.
Yeah. 5.8 for Matt Carroll. And we get into the thick of the midfield and the skipper, Patrick Cripps, with that's a standard Cripper dot in the middle.
Oh, God bless Cripps. Yeah. This is a 10 if we didn't have the midfield makeup we had. So if I was just judging this human being and gone, right, he is the only man that wins tough ball. This is the only man that does the hard stuff. I'd be like, okay, cool. This is a 10. Because it's not, and that's spread between three players, it kind of knocks him. But what I did like was his first half. His first half where they've taken him away from the midfield a bit. They've created that mismatch in the final third. It makes it good to watch. And it was like, okay, this was a good selection. This is good. But as soon as it started to get tough, the Blues were dominating around stoppage, which we expected them to do. Unfortunately, once we had that dominance, we tried to just maintain it and protect it. And that's where I feel for Cripps, because I feel like Cripps now is at a stage where you're either giving Hewett that job and letting Cripps ghost forward. Felt like he was pigeonholed this game. And unfortunately, when you're going with Cripps, Hewett, and Cerra, you ain't going to get that extravagant ball movement in there. And that's Cripps' game. But ultimately, he did his job, and you can't argue with it. I feel like the press saying he's shit, which they didn't say that word for word, but that is how they described him. I think that's a little bit harsh. There's some elements, though, with Cripps that annoy me. You can see he's a man of habit. There was the Ollie Hollands.
Oh, my goodness. Man, he looked at Ollie Hollands and made a conscious choice to not give him that ball, which...
He did it to Walsh about 3 times as well in the third, where Walsh had actually made the run and he could have just handballed it over and he went back inside to TDK. He did that twice to TDK, got the ball off TDK, and then gave it back to TDK instead of clearing it. It was his decision making, though. That is Cripps. That is it, Cripps. We've seen that before. This isn't the first time. I do feel that we missed a trick not bringing him forward, because I felt like that was an issue for GWS early in the game.
Yeah, one of the few things early in the game that really looked like it was giving the opposition a headache. And and then he got plagued with his trust issues with his teammates, and I don't know. I mean, I thought he had an okay game, maybe by his lofty standards, but like those decisions that he made and a lot of the senior guys made, I don't know, maybe they're tainting my view of their performance. I'm curious to know what he rated in the game. Got a 7. Fair. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he also was such a culprit of the lack of composure and poor decision making.
But again, this is the thing with Cripps. We know he's going to do this.
Yeah.
We know he's going to do this, but the fact is, he needs the outside help. You don't want this guy delivering the ball inside 50. You don't. That's why you're playing Motlop, which we hate that role. But that's why you're playing Walsh on the outside, so he's got that run. And ultimately, they either weren't there for him or they were there and he ignored them. So I think that says a lot at times.
Fair. 7 for Cripps. We then get to Sam Walsh. Don't know what's going on here either. Is he with us?
This guy's Teflon in the Carlton fan base because I don't think I cover all 18 teams. And I'll tell you what, I can guarantee when they lose, one of the first players they will pick on, regardless of name, is the guy that is the person who receives the ball from all the hard work. It ain't your Crippses. It's who is the biggest name player that we're getting the ball in. Adelaide lambasted Dawson the other week. Absolutely, honestly, the comment section when we're talking about it, you wouldn't believe Dawson had the year he'd had. Sam Walsh here, I can't quite understand what it is because at times he's actually coming inside when you can see the structure he's saying on the outside. There is times that he's not working hard defensively. There was countless passages on that defensive turnover where he's playing that loose role that's got to work two ways. And he's not working two ways. He's no longer doing that. And a lot of his numbers are in the second half where his elite engine is managing to mask and getting himself in them positions. Sam Walsh, that Geelong game was the best Walsh. Having him on the outside, letting him do it. And since then, he can't help himself, help the boys out in the clearance. And it's a concern because he's not playing good football at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, so uncharacteristic of. I mean, we've covered every single game he's played. There was a little bit of doubt and concern around him last year. There was the back issues, and I mean, I guess the back issues are going to be there forever. Every time he doesn't play well, the back issue will be brought up, and he's cooked and this and that. But I mean, from the very first few minutes of the game, like running too far, like just not switched on. Panic kick in D50. Like, I'm like,
can I just say that running too far in D50, I can cop losing. Trust me, I can take it on the chin, but I can't cop too many steps in front of goal.
Yeah. So, you know, like there's one side of me that says he's just in a patch of form and he's just struggling a bit. And maybe the Carlton bug has finally caught up to him, but like I don't know. Like, it's like, does he love being here anymore? Like, is he loving his? I mean, I guess it goes for a lot of them. Are they enjoying what they're doing? Is it a drag? They're just not focused on the specific milliseconds. It's bizarre.
Some of the most fascinating things have happened, right? Like now every Carlton fan is talking about inside 50s and its efficiency. And when you and me argued about sacking Voss, that was the big thing that I was using. Like, it's something, but these aren't new problems, Terry. We've always been very, but I think what this shows you at the minute that no one really will ask about is our system is built around, it's almost like if you got someone who didn't know the game, and they would make it the most basic game plan. And the game plan at the minute is Cripps wins a fuckload of ball out of contest. The guy is a freak. Sam Walsh has a 30-touch game and delivers it inside 50 15 times. And hopefully delivers it into two of the most freakish forward talents ever. And the game plan there also relies on Weitering doing the unthinkable. So there is no nuance outside of 6 players having career best games. Do you know what I mean? That is what it is. And what you're seeing at the minute is probably the first time in a long time all of our players are having mediocre games. And one thing we're seeing with Sam Walsh at the minute is he's finding the ball in positions that are just absolutely pointless and he's not doing anything with it. So I feel for Walsh here because he's meant to be clever. But at the minute, it feels very easy. And we know he's talented. He is a talented player. But he's now a senior player. Like, this is no longer Sam Walsh 2019, 2020, he'll come good. These are the games he impacts. These are the games that when your midfield is dominating, you win the game.
Mate, he's like the vice captain of the team.
Exactly. And I know Voss likes to touch his plonker to this. He did it again at the end of the game. Oh, plus 20 contested. Do you know what I mean? If you have that and you're going to get excited about it, these players who are meant to be uncontested players should be impacting.
Yeah.
If you look at Isaac Rankine, you give him 20 uncontested possessions, puts you away. Sam Walsh at the minute isn't.
Gets a 4.9 for his game. LS, are you insinuating that this will be the last year that Sam Walsh is in our team? Is that what you're saying? That's interesting. Well, let's see. Who is next? Jesse Motlop. Well, he got to do his celebration.
My wife will tell you, she says, right, can we describe your husband? One of the things she'll say is, I'm incredibly stubborn. Genuinely incredibly stubborn. If I make a decision, I make my mind up, you know what? The house will burn down before I admit that maybe the decision was wrong. However, I would not play 10 games of Jesse Motlop on the ball before admitting this is the single stupidest thing I have seen on a football field. I would have given it up round 2, round 3. It would have been, okay, good idea, bad application. Off you go back to the forward line. He is getting absolutely torched in there, and I can already see how Voss will validate it. His defensive numbers were incredible, right, for that type of position. 3 of them tackles, though, he made were for him turning over the ball or fumbling it and actually defending it. So he's created that opportunity himself.
For him, it's like stat padding. Not stat padding, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, he's fixed his own fuck up, for a want of a better word. But when you look at this player in game and you look at anyone who's playing it anywhere else, I love Jesse, but Jesse isn't quick. Jesse doesn't kick both sides. Jesse's never really been a great deliverer of the football. The things that he did well was goal hang, and he could make that magic happen in the forward line. And apart from that preseason game against St Kilda, we haven't seen it.
Yeah. And
now this midfield, and I can't help feel that if you want a midfielder, either give Luke Cooper Lord more time, or Ben Camporelli likes playing on the ball and slotting across half forward. Give it to someone who is good and does that role. But I saw a passage of play in the second. I know Tate and Tantrum's having a good laugh about it, but Kieran Briggs got to the ball before him, Terry. And I don't... Yeah, this one leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I'm having real SPS vibes about him.
I've tried.
No, but like SPS vibes, you know, like where we just killed his enthusiasm.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I'm at a loss. 3.8.
And I can't explain this role because, like, he's effectively replacing...
Fantasia?
He's effectively replacing Matt Kennedy.
If you
actually look at... Yeah, if you look at the roles we've played in the last year, the guy that had like 5 minutes a quarter in the midfield was Matt Kennedy when we pissed about and played him in the back pocket.
Yeah.
And it beggars belief that out of all the... I could name you 28 players I'd rather see in the midfield than this guy. I don't get it. I actually don't get it. And I know how Voss will validate it. The defensive numbers are pretty stellar. And that's how he'll probably appease himself.
So what's that? 18 pressure acts, 6 tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on paper that does look great.
But the problem is, my argument with this is you look at the guy who is the extra in the midfield. They're the one you're like, oh, shit, not him.
Yeah.
Who's out of the main rotation. 2 players we saw this week who were not move rotation type players. Isaac Heaney and Toby Green. Guys that are traditionally on the ball. They spurt through over there. I don't think in midfield, I would be shocked if Adam Kingsley had a conversation with any of his midfield about Jesse Motlop this week.
Yeah. So has he been graded as a midfielder? Is that why it says 3.8? Considering
He's
the defensive...
been graded as who he is, yeah. And literally all of his numbers are from the midfield.
Right. Right.
Like, it's Terry, it's horrible. Like, honestly, like... And I don't want to laugh, but I just can't believe our coaching column has gone, we'd like a POD in the midfield. And they've managed to think Jesse Motlop has the skill. Because I'm telling you right now, Jesse Motlop could do this role for 100 years. I don't think he'll ever do it.
Yeah. Well, 3.8. Let's move along. George Hewett. Fascinating. He and Weitering, 2 of our most consistent players over a long period of time, both have, their worst performances in a while.
Fascinating, George Hewett. This is the 3rd week in a row. A 3rd week in a row that we've seen Hewett be deployed to try and stop the overload when the opposition inevitably deal with Carlton's stoppage strength by playing that extra. I always call it the Ryan Burns role because the Ryan Burns goal against St Kilda was a classic methodology that midway through 2024, teams deployed this extra, knowing that Carlton's inside 50s would be deep, the more you can put pressure on their stoppage. And they've tried to negate that with George Hewett. And George Hewett was literally taken out of the contest because of it. So Paul Cripper had to do everything on his own. So Cripper and Weitering will, I guarantee you, be waking up in cold sweats remembering 2019. Do you know what I mean? Like, George Hewett wasn't there, but he's probably heard the rumours. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and Cripps must have been like, fuck, I'm on my own again. I'm on my own. And Weitering must have gone, fuck, this is how it used to be. I thought we'd gone past this. And this isn't George's role. This is why Sydney preferred James Rowbottom to him. Because James Rowbottom is quick, he's mobile, he's probably not as good in the clutches as George, but if he has to peel off, he can do it. George is a sitting duck here.
Yeah. Why do you think he was there?
Ironically, I hate to say it, this is when we had that argument. And remember when we dropped Hewett for Kennedy? And I wasn't against it. This was why I wasn't against it, even though George is one of my favourite players. Because Kennedy is probably more mobile and more versatile in doing multiple roles. George, though, it's really simple. Put him in that centre role around stoppage. Anything he sees that's not in the same Guernsey, he hits. And that is what he's good at. And this here, for me, I feel for George because he's going to get battered because it's not his fault.
Yeah. 4.3. Why do you think he was given this task?
Sometimes, look, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying this with any point of authority. I'm only reading between the lines. I genuinely think that there is certain names at the football club that evidently are forbidden to be questioned and forbidden to be moved. And I think it's easier to put Cripps back into his best position than say, Cripps, fuck off to the forward line. We're giving it to Hewett. I think it's harder. I think
the Carlton click. The Carlton click, baby. Are you
honestly,
in?
That's genuinely my thing. I think it would be hard for Voss to say to Walsh, "You're a winger," or "You're playing across wing half forward," and I prefer Ollie Hollands two-way running to you, and you're going to play there. I think it's harder. I think it's easier to sacrifice Akers at halftime than it is Walsh. I think, and that's genuinely what I feel it is, Terry. Honestly, my heart of hearts, I don't think Voss has got the cojones to say Hewett is better than you, Cripps, at this role. You're more needed to me taking marks in the forward line, being that POD. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's got the balls to do it. That's a theory. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. Well, George gets a 4.3. We'll move along. We'll get to Cerra.
I want to caveat this role because he's got coaches' votes, and I presume they're from Carlton. And I think, and by the eye, I don't think there is a doubt he was up there with our best.
Yeah.
Right? I also, without a doubt, have one reservation. So shout out to my boy Harry. He loves this show. I love you, mate. He questioned a couple of weeks ago why Heaney scored so well and Chad Waller and Cerra didn't. And from a statistical point of view, they were very similar. This is why that the impact, though, of Cerra versus them type of players, I think holds it back. Holds it back. I think at times, see what I said about Doc, see what I said about Saad. When you're getting a lot of this ball, I want you to dictate play. And in the second half, he was guilty as well of not getting that game moving on the tempo he blatantly wanted. So right. I'm not asking them. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if it's the coaches who in the second half had the idea, let's limit the amount of people we commit forward and kick longer in a game that we're getting absolutely decimated in on turnover. It's one of them, though. But this is where I want Cerra to say, I'm doing this, yeah? You're moving at my pace. And that's what all the elite midfielders in this competition do. Chad Warner, watch Bailey Smith. He tells them when it's time to go my speed. It's not a coaching directive. When Bailey Smith says, now's my time, baby, he forces them to come with him. And that's my thing with Cerra. He found the ball really well. He did it okay. But I want to see more from him. It was a solid game, but I want to see a lot more.
Just looking at the coaches' votes. Toby Green 10, Lockie Ash 7, Adam Cerra 4, Lockie Whitfield 3, Hogan 2, Jones 2, Green 1, Cripps 1. So Green, Cripps, Jones, Hogan were the respective coaches' 1s and 2s. So somebody's given Cerra a 4. Oh boy.
Yeah, and you'll see here on his rating, it's just Harry asked a good question.
Mm-hmm.
It's another game like the Sydney game. He's got votes because he's found the ball a lot, but from midfield to forward, for you to score an 8 or a 9, have you changed the momentum of the game? So when I look at the players that spent most of the time in the midfield for GWS, they changed the game. I think Cerra found the ball well. I want more from him. Cut a game open. And I don't think he did.
Yeah. Well, a 7.4 for him nonetheless. Then we get to young Oliver Hollands, who was just deployed everywhere. You were rejoicing at the start of the game because of the way that they were playing him, and then it changed.
Shout out Paul as well. I'm glad you've brought in the thing that made me nearly off myself on the live. But see Xavier Hallahan. He stepped in to a big man's role in the GWS, and fuck me, that number 33. That I have flashback. If I have to see that little fucking bold-headed
Bro.
twat more time, it's too early.
He became Brent Daniels.
Yeah,
for a
well, you
day.
see, I said on the live, right, to put it into Carlton perspective, he is the 5th, 6th tier midfielder. Imagine Motlop doing that. Like, imagine Motlop suddenly being given the Walsh minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, that is what they've done. They have literally, he's like a kid at Christmas. He's like, oh my God, this is good. I get to do it. And he's proved it. And there's the difference. But Ollie, fuck me. This guy was on for a 9. His first quarter, he took the Elijah job, took his brother. And, I was really excited to see him line up at half-forward because I was like, he's the baby brother. He's always been in the shadow of his big brother. His big brother's taken some time away from the game. He has had to eat the shit sandwich for years. He's now getting that job where he can step out of the limelight and say, I am here. And he had that goal. He had that behind. His movement inside 50 was a little bit iffy. But as I always say, I don't mind bad disposal efficiency when you're putting it in zones. And for some reason, every midfielder at Carlton is obsessed with that left-hand side or right-hand side pocket, the easiest fucking place to intercept and turn it over. Yeah. Like, it's the danger zone. It's where we hide our interceptors. We kick to their interceptors. He kicks centrally where it's harder, where everyone's there to defend. So I don't mind him fucking the kick up. And then to see third quarter and to see him rolling with Toby Green when he rested, I was like, is someone having a laugh? Like the guy was having fun and he was right back to weekend at my mother-in-law's eating her shit food and pretending I like it. What can I say about him? Works hard. When he's in the back line, you see no enjoyment from him. And I don't like watching him. But when he has the ball, there's a bit of creativity. And I would say one of 3 players on our list who I think I could give him a Rubik's Cube and would be the only fucker that would attempt to complete it and probably do it because the other bastards would just smash it and put it together. He's actually got a brain. He thinks about the problems. So I hope I get to see him attack one more time because he looked good there.
When he got burned, I mean, he got burned multiple times, but the way he works hard to be an option and continues to be burned, I don't think he's watching this. But if by any chance he is, I'm pleading, Ollie, please don't ever stop working with the spirit that you do. Like, hopefully one day your teammates will trust you enough to bring you into the game and help you be great. Oh man, because if he loses that, it just, I think what we're talking about Walsh, like at the start of his career, he just worked so hard. He had that demon in his eyes to want to outwork everyone. And for whatever reason, we're watching it fall away. I just hope somehow Ollie doesn't lose that. But I feel like I've said that sentence about 3 or 4 players over the last 8 seasons in particular. So I just hope he doesn't get to him.
It breaks me. Like, honestly, you look at that. Honestly, like someone said to me, good mate of mine goes, Pom, what would you say to the boys in the review? I was like, I would play that Patrick Cripps ignoring Ollie Hollands. And the next thing I would do would smash the fuck out of all the lockers in there.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I would literally smash every single one of them poxy little lockers.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, none of you were fucking as good as the names on there.
Yeah.
So what the fuck do you think you're doing? This guy has hauled ass 30 meters, ran with his captain for you to blaze it, turn it over, and it come back again. 83 points on turnover. How many times do you want to fucking learn? Like,
but not even that. Even just to add to that, to look at him and consciously choose to ignore him.
Set the example, bro. And this is what annoys me because that's selfless running. And eventually, if Ollie wasn't such a pig-headed twat, he would have stopped making them runs. He will eventually stop making them runs because he goes, what's the fucking point? You got to kick it again to the back pocket where they've got Leah playing loose. See any back pocket interceptor, Aaliyah, fucking Tom Stewart, whoever it is, that is where they live. And Cripps did it again. when there was a chance to do it. And it's so heartbreaking when the guy has kicked a goal one, looking like he wanted to make something happen. He would have kicked that on the tit of a player.
It's so infuriating, man.
And you know what is annoying? He turns it over, and guess who's fucking chasing Lockie Ash? Ollie Hollands, who's been burnt. He's protecting his captain. Even though his captain burnt him, he's chasing the fucker back. What a man. Love you, Ollie. Love you.
I do too. I really, really pained me watching that replay because I went back again. I paused it, watched every frame, like, oh, maybe Cripps, maybe he didn't see him. And then I paused on the frame where I saw him side eye Ollie. I'm like, you fucking chose to burn him, like bring him into the game. And these guys, they're stars, so to speak, and they just get hidden behind their beautiful stats.
Mate, he works his he's got his issues, Ollie.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck me, man.
But that's why you bring him into the game.
I have no idea what he must have been feeling, because as soon as that ball got intercepted by Lee Clear and he handballs it out to fucking Lockie Ash, and the poor twat, he's on his bike. He's like, fuck me, I've just ran fucking 500 meters and now I've got to chase this little dickhead. And he does it with a smile on his face. It breaks my heart.
Oh, I'm glad they persisted with him because he's got something inside. Ollie,
my favourite moment, fourth quarter, Toby Green absolutely manhandles, ragdolls him like a little child. And it's brilliant to see. He falls backwards, then he gets up and he fucking goes again. And I'm like, that pays you back.
Yeah.
Because it would be easy to stay on the ground. It would be easy to give up. But he was like, no, I'll go again. You're going to have to kill me. And that gets us out of this shit.
Yeah.
Well done.
6 for Ollie. Well done, young man. Well done. Then we get to Blake Acres.
You know what, right? Look, I said I'd give you a positive. I have no idea how this has happened, but you are looking at Mr. 100% by disposal efficiency. And really? I actually went back and manually calculated it. Only one of them, disposal efficiency, is the dodgy AFL disposal efficiency that if you kick to a contest, it counts as you've hit a target. So I have no idea how that's happened, but well done, Blake. Like, outside of that, oh my God. For me, this is part of the problem. Every club in the AFL at the minute is playing their wingers as the attacking position. And you want to know why we are so bad disposal inside 50. These fuckers are the ones who change the angle for you, your midfield. Adelaide do that really annoying thing. Wing, come back inside the midfield, right? Wing, come back inside the corridor. We just play ours there to protect the halfbacks that don't even overlap. And this was really a nothing game from Blake. And I'd love the Blues to go, right, Ollie did really well in the attacking position. So did Binns a couple of weeks ago when we gave him that just pure attacking role. Let's just play 2 attacking wingers and let's maybe just play a more defensive halfback. I don't get it, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I thought he would need some time, given he had a bit of an interrupted preseason. But even then, he played every preseason game. Like, I know he had the surgery, but he showed up for the first preseason practice match, did all of that. I still think he's a kind of guy that, okay, he just fires up in the second half of the year, maybe. And like, he's had this characteristic about him. I remember it. Speaking to Druzy about it at Freo, like he had these games at Freo where he didn't play very well in the season, and then it got to the end of the season, then he'd turn into something else. And he's obviously dislocated the shoulder. He's come back in after a week off. I don't know. It's just a shame because he's not playing anywhere near the level that he's capable of.
This is one of them ones where, I want to see more attack. If he's going to play that role, I'm a firm believer these should be your most aggressive positions on the football field. I'm not a fan. And then for Voss to take him off and bring Binns on and totally change the system up by flooding more people down the back, mindless. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. It was an okay game. It was a meh game for a guy that's been substituted so early.
Yeah, so gets a 5. He gets an extra week off to rest up the shoulder, and we'll see. Jackson Binns, who was the sub, who came on.
It's back. Negative AFL rating. You know It's good when you see that.
Right.
Look where he played. Then think about Blake Acres. Very little time to impact the game. And then when you've brought Binns on, logic would say that you're going to go a bit more by hand, going to get a bit of a running game going. And Carlton actually went more kick heavy to a guy that's not known for his marking. Like, honestly, it feels harsh to give him a rating because Binns might as well have stayed with me. We would have had the same rating. Same chance of impacting the game. I'll be totally honest.
Yeah. I don't have much to add for the young fella. 2.6. See
you got to help him out, man. Like, if you're going to bring that on, play small, play fast, quick. Yeah. Give him a chance.
Well, at the stage he was brought into the game, we had already seen the glaring issues with what was happening with our senior players. So it was hard to expect a young fella like Binns to come on and really. I mean, they weren't trusting anyone else on the field. What chance were they of trusting Binns to get him into the game? They were all so consumed with their own heads individually. So, tough one to grade. 2.6. He obviously was the sub. So, De Koning. Also don't know what's happening here. Is he here? Is he with us? Is he not? Is he okay? The larynx? Is it? Can I put expectations? Am I being harsh? I'm so confused.
Yeah, this was a bizarre game from TDK. He never really got going around the ground. Very laconic. Very laconic. 1 mark for the game. And didn't really present an option. And that mark was really early as well. That intercept mark where you thought, okay, boy's on fire. Boy's ready to play. Boy's going to protect his backline. After that, I didn't see much. Kieran Briggs gave him a masterclass. And Briggs, honestly, all due respect to him, I think B grade is a positive. He's too positive. But this was way too easy. And all the issues I have with TDK, that when he's playing a light athletic ruckman, he's going to have some fun. When he plays that slower, more physical one, feels like he's really stuck into that. Didn't take anything from the hit-outs, didn't look to get Carlton going forward. When he did have clearances, he just roofed it as opposed to playing short, which is what we praise him from. This, was a very, very bad game. Very bad game for Mr. Tom De Koning.
Yeah, we're talking about the moments, the being focused for the milliseconds and just the way Briggs kicked the goal out of the ruck. I sat there stunned. It happened at the end that I was sitting on. I was sitting pretty much right behind those goals. Just stunned. His lack of concentration in that critical millisecond, we'll call it. And then I don't know if you listened to Briggs's post-game interview. He was talking about Tom. Tom's a superstar ruck. He called him, one of the best 3 with Sherry and Gorn in the comp. They're throwing cash at him, and he's like, I can understand why. Like, he was so humble and complimentary, and that he sort of said something around, I think they were drafted in similar years, if not the same, or they're similar age. And what a game. Briggs got up for it and just nullified his influence. And I guess you give full credit to Briggs, but for Tom, I mean, we just need, forget about 1.7 for a second, because we're not paying 1.7. That's the reported offer. We're reportedly going to be offering something like $1 million. So if you want to have $1 million price tags, you need $1 million expectations. So we can't.
He's got to be better. Simple. I mean, he's a senior player.
Yeah.
And when you're being offered 1.7 by an opposition side, you're a senior player. Whether I agree he's valued at that or not, is irrelevant. We've only got to do that. I don't think he was good enough. And got to find a way to impact the good rucks too. He didn't.
Yeah, they do. 3.6 for Tom. So
every metric he lost as well. That's poor.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously had a pretty solid year. So that's definitely the lowest score of his season. Then we got to Lockie Fogarty. God damn it. Hit the scoreboard, this young lad.
One of the handful of positives. Played that forward pocket role incredibly well. And one thing that I always say about the Smalls, if you don't tackle, kick goals. If you don't kick goals, tackle like a Trojan. Did everything. One of the few as well that led high up the ground. As well from the pocket. Tried to get out of the trouble. Tried to present an option. Constantly burnt as well at times. Did work tirelessly. Got his goals. Crumbed well. Was a head and shoulder above the other small forwards. And all he really did was the basics of small forward craft.
Yeah. It's been the big criticism of him hitting the scoreboard. So, I was pleased for him. 7.5 for his game. I think that would be his best for the year off the top of my head. So, well done. Well done to Lockie Fogarty. Then we get to Will White, one of the other Smalls. What do we take out of this game?
Tough one from Whitey because, again, he's got the easy role. So he's got that role where very little defensive responsibility, stay deep, make something happen. And when Carlton are kicking to 1 on 4 contests, it's not going to help his cause. Works hard, though. Works tirelessly. Won the ground ball quite a few times. Tried to get involved in it. Took his goal well. But, again, this guy shouldn't be playing and usurping some of the senior players in his forward line. He's still learning it. So, okay game, but you can see here, if this, you want your second forward to be up there with Fogarty, and he was quite a few rungs below.
Yeah. So for young Will, that's a 5.9. Solid, not terrible. Maybe one of the other positives of the day. This young lad.
Yeah, so if we're looking for the new Kennedy, it's probably this guy because this guy gets moved around a lot.
Yeah.
It gets moved around a lot. So resting at half forward, then moving into the midfield, at times found himself defending that flank from Lockie Arshan. One of the leading players tackling inside 50, was exceptional around the ground ball, led for targets as well, worked really hard in front of the ball, drove the ball deep inside 50, as opposed to them little meh kicks. He gives it a muh, which is nice to see. Takes his goal well. A lot to like about him, isn't there? A lot to like. Working hard. Where he'd probably have a defined role, he's having to become a master of a few. And I like what I see from Coops.
Yeah, it's attitude. It's his attitude and his approach. Again, looking for good characteristics moving forward into the future. I hope that they continue to develop him the right way. Do I trust that they can do that? Nope. But I hope they can. Hope they do. So 6.7 for young Cooper. Then we get to Durds. This was definitely not his day.
Yeah, from a numerical point of view, was always either the wrong side of where the entries were. At times was incredibly deep as well. Yeah. This is a peculiar one because one thing that probably Durden is guilty of, he's probably been too aggressive and been out the back way too much. This time he'd really over-adjusted. And yeah, man, Jimmy Hoffa for most of it. I didn't even know he was on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had, 3 or 4 solid games in a row. And yeah, this one's just a bottoming out game, I guess. Just not there, not amongst it. Didn't get into it. Oh wow, yeah, not surprised.
Like that, yeah. So I mean, like, he only had like what 3 things on the stat sheet, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, Pom's rating doesn't give you a mark for turning up.
yeah. Okay, so a 2.3 for Dudes. Then we get to Charlie Curnow.
The worst 3-goal game I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm glad you said it.
And I love Charlie. Look, I'm a huge Charlie fanboy. Genuinely the worst 3-goal game I've ever seen. Like it felt like there was like a quota of like I always say to my kids, like you set them challenges, pick up 6 things in the living room and you can go out and play. And they never pick 7 or 8. They pick 6, and it's the 6 the smallest, easiest things. They're not going to fucking go mental. Yeah, this was poor. Outside of the goals he kicked, the decision making was poor. A real give up and chase as well at times. The amount of times that ball hit the deck, and where usually we praise Charlie for his ability to work on the ground and we take the piss that the smalls can't crumb as well as him, he looked like he had no interest in the ground ball. And it felt like I was watching a movie that he was trying to get a highlight reel with some of the stuff he was doing. It looked like he was trying to get on a highlight reel because some of the things beg a belief of what he was trying to do.
Yeah, there was well, I mean, early in the game, you know, Lewis Young was really working for Charlie, really just trying to do everything he could to get Sam Taylor off him and get Lee Collier and force the switch, doing a really selfless thing for him. And then in the second quarter, Charlie's got it from 50, whatever it was, and he just blazed away. Took a shot on goal, missed everything. I think, or maybe he kicked it behind. Lewis hands up, pleading with him to put it to the top of the square, to sort of like, I work for you, you work for me. And then the camera panned to Charlie, and he refused to look at Lewis and put his hand up. And I mean, yeah, I look at Charlie now as a leader of the group. I still see the petulance in his game that plagued him as a youngster, but the talent overcomes it because he's a freak and he does freakish things, and he's yet to really evolve. I think he and Harry have similar traits, that they're just both in different ways yet to really harden as the complete packages and evolve into the next layer. They've still got their childish tendencies about them, and yeah, I was disappointed. But I mean, he's kicked 3 and it was lively, and it's like, okay, well, what's your job? Kick goals. He's kicked 3. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But so I'm really struggling with how to talk about his game, but I'm still disappointed.
I've said this about all the leaders. It felt like he'd done enough.
Yeah, they get the minimum quota on the stat sheet, and then that's it.
I'd expect a key forward with his reputation. I've kicked 3 quite early. I am absolutely taking the piss. I'm winning my battles. I'm going to have 10. I'm going to have 12. I'm going to have 14. I'm going to have 16. Felt like once he got that 3, we started to see a bit of showboating. It was all a bit fun. Mm-hmm. And that breaks my heart a little bit, because all the leaders this week are in that criticism. You've got to set the bar. This was a game where Charlie Curnow says, I've had 3. Get it to me 6 more times, I'll have fucking 9. Weitering, stop spilling marks. Cripps, get your head over the ball and get it out. And Walsh, would you fucking do something? Right? It felt like he was like, oh, I've got 3. So I've probably got 6, 7 out of 10 on the ratings. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone else does 3 goals.
Yeah. It's so frustrating, because I think the game plan is built around these forwards and working towards them. You got, small forwards who are getting out, giving them space. Like it's all built for them. You got Lewis Young, who comes in to just get in the way and block for these forwards to do great things, and then they don't seemingly want to do it for others. I'm going crazy because I know they're better, and then I question: do I really know that they're better, or do I just think that they're better because I've projected that they're better? I don't even know, dude. Harry and Charlie this week are giving me a brain aneurysm. Like I'm blowing up in my head about them. I don't know.
Like,
what
I've said it for 3 years. I don't believe two top key forwards is the way to go. I think they're way too similar. And when we come to Harry, I'll say what I mean, because both of these two have a habit as well. When it's tough, we lead to the same space because it's easy. It's where the ball's going to go. We're not going to create separation. We're just going to fucking go the same. And hopefully one of us is the hero. You have to have one of them who's subservient. One of them has to say, I am your bitch. I will do the hard shit so you can get the papers tomorrow. And I don't see it in either of them. I don't think either of them are like, I'm working for you. I think they're both like, I'm the daddy. And this year, particularly, it feels like one sulks if the other one doesn't kick ass and takes names.
I do remember something like this happening last year, and then Charlie went the other way completely. I think it was against the Dogs, where he was in his head, kicked 3 goals 7. He was passing when he should have taken a shot. He was taking a shot when he should have passed. So it's all easy to say on this side. I get that, but yeah, 5.8 for Charlie, and
that's abhorrent when you've kicked 3.
Yeah,
because you've done the hard bit.
Oh, Harry.
If deceive the paying public with numbers was a game, it would be this one. Because at face value, you look at 18 touches and you're like, okay, cool. The key forward has had 18 touches. This should be a fucking good game. And then you think about it that 4 of them were inside 50. You're like, that doesn't quite make sense because he must have kicked a lot of goals then. And then you go to the goal column, right? And you're like, oh, 18 touches. He's only kicked it in 4 times. He must have a lot. You see 0 goals. You're like, okay, cool. Maybe he played back. And then you look at his marks, right? And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Let's have a look at his marks. That's going to give me something. You're like, 5 marks. Were they intercept marks or none? Were they inside 50? No, no. Okay. Potentially, I've just said the worst 3-goal game, right, from Charlie. Without a shadow of a doubt, the worst game I've ever seen of a key forward who is on 6 figures. This game isn't bad. This should actually be illegal for me to have to watch this for 3 times. This was poor. A player that led into space the entire time in the goal square when he was forward, where Charlie was operating, didn't look to move, didn't look to try and create the separation. Himmelberg, Lee Kalia, Jack Buckley must have laughed that they were like, oh, well, hang about. The hard bit to get these guys is we can't double up on them. But when they stay in the same fucking area, we can move Himmelberg full forward and we can move Lee Kalia in the back pocket and just come in front of us. We've played into their hands. And honestly, this was poor. Really poor. When he had the ball, he did nothing with it. There was a few times he took marks on the wing, and you're expecting him to... He's a key forward. He knows a high floaty kick, back pocket, is the worst place to have it for him.
Yeah, look,
guy did it 3 times.
Yeah, this one's also becoming a really difficult one to talk about because I am mindful that there are issues that happen with him and performance anxiety and things like that. So like I will put a little bit of space for that. And I am mindful of, and again, like I hope it's very clear, none of this is personal. It's purely on their performance and the expectations for these guys who negotiate with their managers so strongly to get such strong investment for security, long-term deals. And it's like, okay, so there was a moment late in the game in the 4th, Durden laid a really strong tackle in our forward 50, forced a stoppage. Mackay, he was already seemingly in his head from early in the game. It just seems like with Harry, if he doesn't win his first contest, he's done for the day and he just struggles to get into the game. It's got to be sort of working for him on his terms. And he didn't pick up Durds, and it just like a little thing like that. I'm like, mate, I get it. You're struggling and you probably know you haven't played well and all of that, but like, best thing you can do in that situation is do something for someone else, show compassion to somebody else. And it just looks like it's always caving in at times. If he's on, he can win games off his own boot, and I love him and all of that. But I mean, I'm really struggling with both of them this week, and Harry for different reasons to Charlie, but I just saw a guy that stat padded for a lot of the day and made sure that his numbers looked okay. And
there isn't an easier club in world football to play for than being a forward for this football club, because the entire game plan is so simplistic and so pig-headed and so simple that if you're an inside midfielder or if you're a full forward or a centre-half forward, the game plan is literally built around you. We'll bomb it as many times into you. And Harry Mackay, God gave him the ability to take a contested mark. And when you can't even be bothered to move yourself into a position where you can win that, regardless of what's going on in off field, this is a criticism of him as a player, not as a human being. As soon as you go out there, though, you're telling me it is okay for me to critique your professional performance as long as I keep it respectful. Yeah. His professional performance was absolutely shithouse and is offensive. He is on six figures. For a man that has a Coleman medal, the same with Charlie, when the game plan is entirely built around you two, that is what you output. Shit the bed. Disgraceful.
Yeah. What's happened below his knees? I thought that was a trait that they both like. What's what? Oh man, my head hurts. Fuck it. 3.8.
You know what? Harry made a great call as well. Harry, who comments on this show, shout out to you. He made a comment on my review. The synergy these two should have by now. It should be. It's almost like these two fuckers only met each other 5 minutes before going out. I know where they lead. Like, honestly, the fact Harry Himmelberger's had the luxury to fuck off, that says it all. I would be ashamed of myself if I was them two, because these two are very good footballers. That was shit. I've got Charlie Curnow thinking he's fucking prime Mel Gibson. I've got Harry fucking Mackay. Fuck knows what. He did a great impression of Ben Mackay this week.
Yep. 3.8. And then finally, there was Lewis Young, who for the third time now we see start in this forward line with this role, this selfless, I don't know what role it is, then moved back and then moved around and don't know. How do you even, what other player in the league plays that role? How do you even put this through the algorithm?
Dear Christ alive. This is a fascinating one, and this is where I'd love to be able to have a beer with Michael Voss and just go, look, can you explain the thought process where the backline's not really going that bad? You're actually putting yourself under pressure because you keep turning the fucking ball over. So really, like, do you know what I mean? Like, your backline's holding up pretty well. It's the fucking mid forwards who have got the IQ at the minute of a fucking gnat. What? And then, like, if we haven't realised yet that Jesse Motlop isn't a midfielder, surely we've learned when you put Lewis Young anywhere near Jacob Weitering turns into fucking a mannequin at Kmart. So your first port of call is move this guy back. This was the only thing that was working, because what happens is when you leave a full forward, it makes the fullback have to defend. And it takes them out of that area. And especially if you can't, and you do that little kick inside 50, you want the back. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like an 85-year-old having a piss. That's what our inside 50 is. It's coming out very slowly in stages, right? You kind of like Lewis at full forward because it means there's one less person to worry about. It's absolutely, like, honestly, I can't grade the game because it's going to be a bad game. The guy is doing bits and pieces, but fuck me. I feel for this guy. I feel for, because this guy is the guy that gets the abuse.
Yeah, man.
And like, I don't know if the only way Michael Voss can maintain an erection is seeing angry Carlton fans, and this is one of the attempts. Hang Lewis and everyone will get up. This was Shocking.
I
feel
sat
for
on
it.
the end. I do too. I sat on the end where we were kicking in the first quarter, and I watched Lewis every chance. He was so locked in to making sure that he forced the switch for Charlie. And then when I saw Charlie burn him in the second and Lewis put his hands up, sometimes I wish Lewis would just grab Charlie by the fucking jersey and say, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" But he wouldn't do that, obviously. But I'd love to see it. Like, can somebody read the riot act to these senior guys who get all the praise and all the excuses made for them every week, while this guy's got to cop it and probably gets dropped? Oh,
You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to be allowed to go down to the club and I'd play this game with them. So I played with my boys when I was growing up with three brothers. We had this game. We had the bottle game. You used to get tossed the bottle and you're
Right.
allowed to say whatever you fucking want.
yeah.
It used to be great, right? Being a brother, being the middle one, because I could just absolutely acid tongue them. But while I had the bottle, you weren't allowed to speak. You had to just cop whatever I was feeling. And then once you got the ball, you could retaliate, and I had to stay quiet. I would love to do that game, and I'd be like this to Lewis, right, here you are, you've got the bottle now. These fuckers can't speak to you. You tell them, mate, what you feel. And I want one of these fucking idiots to cry. And you're going to have that bottle until you make one of them cry. Let it out, because he must be frustrated, bro.
Yeah. Got to go out there and work for these guys who don't want to work for him. And 2.7. But I really do feel for him in the role. And I don't. Are we going to continue
being full
down?
forward. You're trying to create space for your forwards. Your midfielders deliver a meh, kick, meh. Oh, it hasn't worked 7 times. Let's do it 18. And then you get this. You come on the bench and Hansen taps you and he's like, "Oh, Vossi wants to speak to you." And Vossi's like, yeah, you're right, Lou. We're getting absolutely destroyed in the back half of the ground. Do you mind going fullback for me? And then you walk through fullback and, Weitering hates you. Evidently, you can't play football when you're in the vicinity. And you're going to come home and you know that some fat guy from Warrnambool is going to go, "We got rid of Kennedy and we're still paying this shit cunt Lewis Young to play football." And you're like, hang about, Walsh has got 2 fucking left feet. Why am I getting blamed? Like, I feel for you, Lewis.
I do. I really do. I do. And it's like these forwards, like the small forwards are in the team for a role to get the best out of Harry and Charlie. On top of that, Lewis comes into the team to block for these guys. It's all fucked up. You just look after the clique, the 6 of them that are in the upper echelon, and that's it. As long as they're happy.
Look, Lewis is Lewis, right? He's not an A-list footballer, but you know what? Fuck me. Like, when you're watching Charlie kick outside of the banana from an impossible range when you need a goal, you're watching Harry fucking replicate Anthony Koutafidis doing Fit Club. I mean, just jogging up and down the fucking wing. And you're the one who's told to go back pocket and be the fucking sacrificial lamb. You must think, what have I done?
Oh, in another life. Lewis, fair play, mate.
I love you, Lou, mate, honestly. But there you are. Look at it. Jesus. Bruh. Jesus, look. More red than that wrong time of the month at an old girls' school. Look at that.
Look at the state of it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
And usually when we do this and we've managed to see a bit of wins, our main boys are in a blue or something this week. They've just managed to maintain an AFL average standard.
Our forwards have a decoy for them.
Yeah, 2.2 million's worth of salary and we're paying a 400k fullback to be there. Decoy, that's where we are.
Fucking. Oh man, it is a disgrace. But it's all right though. It's all right though, Pom. You know why? Because I'll get
Because we're gonna,
after it. You
we're
know
gonna get
why else it's all right, bro? You know why else it's all right?
he better get after it.
Bro, it's all good. $10 tickets.
Huh.
They're selling
we don't
$10 tickets. They're selling $10 tickets. Oh.
Yeah, and he'll probably drop O'Farrell as well. He'll be like, "Oh, we sauce his back." Oh dear.
It's revolting. And again, I don't know. Are the players protesting? Because I saw them make choices on Saturday. I didn't see things happen that were out of their control. I mean, there were obviously things that were out of their control, but and then there's the other side of it of maybe there's just things going on inside that is just literally so hard and it's affecting them and they just got to front up and they're struggling and there's fractures. So like there's obviously space for that, but
the good news is though, the good news is for the first time ever, when we hand over pick 4 to Hawthorn this year, at least we'll have completed a rebuild. Won't be ours, but at least we've completed one. We've helped them get Zach Butters for cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's the team. Yeah. Enjoy your week's holiday in Gold Coast or whatever you're doing. Cheers, boys.
Yeah, enjoy. Well, the most exciting part of the show, let's watch some real footballers and their roles, Pommy. Talk to me about Toby Green and why you decided to choose him to highlight.
Yeah, so Toby Green, usually playing that half forward role, swinging back into the midfield, spent a lot more time in the midfield this week. A lot more time. And ultimately, look, I knew this was bad. Michael Voss did a press conference on Thursday saying that we know he's going to be up for it. It's his 250th game. And we've got a plan for him. I knew he was going to have a big game as soon as Voss uttered the words, "I've got a plan for him." I tried to persuade my wife to let me remortgage the house and stick it on 3 goals. She said no, but yeah, he destroyed us. Smart, clever, completely bamboozled the Blues.
Yeah. 8.2. I'm curious. Has he been has he suffered for something? Like, I mean, because on the surface it looks like a great game. I was thinking maybe in the 9s.
I mean, look, things that with Toby, not great defensively. He's not. Remember, we're judging them as all-round wonderful players. So we're wanting for a 10, we're expecting everything.
Right.
But with him defensively quite slack as opposed to where you'd expect from him. But had a few moments where he wasn't impactful in the forward line, a little bit selfish. Some opportunities to shoot a goal we didn't take. Just little things. It's real picky, this algorithm. Once you get to an 8, we're looking for perfection to go to 9.
Okay. I see Callum Brown. What made you want to highlight Callum Brown's game?
Well, just to see what a small forward does, so you could see it. He was in. So this guy here, just believe it or not, identical role to Will White. A guy that has no defensive responsibility, and he's looking to be that conduit between midfield and forward. Look, he's a POM, so he's going to do his job and worked incredibly hard. I thought he tore Carlton apart in that first half. I thought we had no answer. He lost everyone we put on him. And look at the crumbs, 6 crumbs in this game. Massive game from him and delivered the ball inside 50. And this is someone that is playing the no defensive responsibility role, but also tackling, also getting the defensive, showing how well-rounded he is and creating that outlet. Strong game. So just think, Fogarty was our highest rated small forward. And this guy's just their bang average small forward.
Yep. So he got an 8 for his game. Briggs, I don't see his heat map, but I see his score. You want to touch on him?
Yeah, so Briggs, tough game for Kieran Briggs because from a statistic point of view, not absolutely insane, but what you saw, brilliant from him, just well-rounded in every metric you would see from a ruckman. Had almost double the hit-outs to advantage of his adversary, brought massive amounts of score launches and score involvements. But the big thing is how cumbersome he is. He protects his midfield. He gets his body in the way. And that's something that we talk about with Pitternet.
Yeah.
When he plays, I'd like to see more of that. That physicality I talk about that I want to see from Pitternet. You saw this from him. And I thought this was actually a scary game from Briggs because he outperformed by a long way as well. TDK just around the ground, just being a nuisance. Stop TDK getting to the ball. Stop getting into the lead up. 1 mark for TDK. There was no marks from Briggs, but you go back and watch the tape. He was a menace. Stopped him getting there, which is part of the battle. You can't win the ball if you're not there.
This is a good example for conversations that we have around Pitto and the validity of him playing. How much better of a player is Briggs to Pitto as a whole?
I don't think miles. I think Pitternet's a better tap ruckman.
Yeah.
But this again goes back to my point, and I don't think many people understand this. I feel like Voss doesn't look at skill sets. Voss looks at role. I fit you into the role. I don't think he would, like Callum Brown, I don't think he would go, right, what's Callum Brown good at? He's incredibly quick. He's very, very, very good at reading the ball in flight, and he anticipates really well. I don't think Voss would use him like that. I think Voss would literally say, well, this is what my forward pocket does. And he'd be like, yeah, but I'm quicker than you. No, I couldn't give a shit, Callum. If you play forward pocket, you play like this. So, and it's like, I disagree with Paul. He's saying that Pitternet's better around. Pitternet, all games he's played this year, Pitternet has outperformed Briggs in Sandful and in seniors around the ground. But Kingsley appreciates what Briggs is. He knows Briggs isn't going to win one-on-one against TDK in the air. So what's the simple solution? You're bigger, you're stronger. Stop him getting there. Stop him be a nuisance. Because in this game, TDK, if it was Briggs was coached by Carlton, he would say this. He would say, Briggs beat TDK in the air. Just don't let him get to the air.
Yep.
And he beat him around that. So, and you see it when Pitternet plays. We saw what Pitternet did last week, didn't we? He tried to play like TDK. There was no shift in the midfield. Like, they set up differently dependent on who's in the ruck. And you saw them change it. No Canelio, no Kelly. They made them changes. Made them changes to still have the impetus they needed. But we wouldn't do that. If Cripps is injured, Walsh is going to have to play Cripps' role. It won't be change the role. It'll be Cripps. Oh, fuck. Someone else has to be Cripps. And that is there. That's the dynamicness of the coaches.
Right.
Like, I saw Xavier Hallahan play the Callahan role and not be Xavier and not do the same thing. Clever.
Well, the main riser. Yep. Fantastic. Yep. Good on him. Spoken a lot about it.
Imagine what happens when you play players in your actual position.
Well, who would have thought you play him behind the ball? Yeah. Especially when you've got a void there that Nick Newman has left because he's not available. He's injured. And yeah, so a 7 for Doc. The player of the game for the Blues was Lockie Fogarty. He had the highest rating for the Blues. Well done. Give him a little bit there, you know?
And how bad's that? Because we just said, let's see, Callum Brown. But you see, again, like, I think that's the big thing with Carlton. If you watch Geelong, they're playing different roles.
Yeah.
They're playing different roles to their strengths, where Carlton is kind of like, he does this, you do that, don't stray from it. And I can definitely tell Harry Mackay and Kerner, their team talk is literally just kick goals.
Yeah.
Well done, Fod.
Well done. And then the 1%er award. Well, Jacob had 8 1%ers. So, yeah, that's something to take from his game, I guess. I'm sure he will be one to respond. No doubt about that. But yeah, just wasn't his game. But it was good. It was his game for the 1%ers. So.
It's scary, isn't it?
Why are we back here again? Like, why are we back here talking like this again? It's meant to be our glory years, you know? Oh, just wait until Harry and Charlie are, 27, 28. Now we're talking about trading them for picks so that we can get those picks. So then we can say, wait till this player is 27, 28 in their prime, only to then trade them for another pick.
Mate, look, we'll get there. I don't know when, but we'll get there.
I don't think we will.
I didn't believe it either, but I just tried to make you feel better. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's the dad in me.
Yeah, fair. Well, Pommy, thank you very much. As always, Nick from Horizon Finance Group, thank you very much for sponsoring the show. I don't know why there's 246 of you watching this, but thank you for tuning in. At least we have somewhere to unpack things. I'm sure you're all going crazy as much as what we are. And we are honored, and it truly is a privilege to be able to bring this show to you, even though it's frustrating and even though it's disappointing and even though it is a repetitive show at times. So, yeah, just want to say thank you.
Look, it was good fun. Hey, do you know what I mean? Most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Yeah. So, once again, pour yourselves a cup of tea. Meet me back here at 7 p.m. for the Blue Abroad show. Don't miss it.
Enjoy, everyone. Thank you very much for hanging with us.
Go Blues.
Go Blues.